Alright.
David, ¿qué pasa, bro?
What are you going to sing, Ronaldo, on that microphone over there?
Well, the thing is, when you have the mic, it is sort of audio.
Can I slip that down a little bit so it's not right?
There you go with it. How you?
Is that all right?
That's too low. Let's see, right there.
Okay.
Yes, sorry. Hi, good morning. Great.
We're the only people who are ready.
Stenciling me? Yeah. Yeah, yesterday and today were gorgeous.
So nice.
Hello. Nice to see you again. Regina, yes, nice to meet you. Welcome.
Well, I'll do whatever you want to do.
Nice to, especially when I met McKee. I went to college with him. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here. It's a great honor to be with our governor, Governor McKee, and with my senior colleague in the House delegation, Congressman Langevin. And of course, thank you, the Genesis Center, and especially Shannon Carroll and Gina Johnson for hosting us this morning on this beautiful Rhode Island day. Rhode Island and our whole country have obviously been through a lot over the last year, but I'm proud to say that we're coming back stronger than ever before. Last month, 559,000 new jobs were created. Unemployment is down. Wages are up. There are 2 million more jobs today than there were when President Biden took office. We're pulling out of the worst economic crisis in a century, and it's really critical that we keep our foot on the gas. Not just to grow our economy, but to grow it from the bottom up and the middle out, as the president always says. And we can't do that unless parents can go back to work knowing that their kids are safe and being taken care of throughout the day. When parents, and especially women, can't find affordable childcare, they drop out of the workforce. They reduce their hours, they turn down promotions. That hurts all of us. One recent study found that the lack of childcare in America costs our economy $57 billion a year in lost earnings. So that's why the American Rescue Plan, which we passed earlier this year, invested in the care economy with a $39 billion down payment for childcare. Rhode Island alone received $93 million to help childcare providers reopen safely and provide affordable childcare for working moms and dads. I know that Governor McKee has been putting that money to work, but we are far from done. 1 in 7 childcare workers have still not returned to their jobs. The average cost of childcare in Rhode Island is 10% of the typical family's income. And even before the pandemic, almost half of Rhode Islanders lived in communities where child care options were limited. To put it simply, we need to do more to invest in the care economy. And we need to pass the President's American Families Plan. The American Families Plan will make a $225 billion investment in affordable child care and a $220 billion investment for universal pre-K. Under the American Families Plan, the most hard-pressed families will have a child care fully paid for. Rhode Island families making up to $134,000 a year will pay no more than 7% of their income on child care for kids under 5. And to make child care sustainable, it vests in child care workers, raising their wages and ensuring that they get good benefits. This is something other countries have done a long time ago, and it's time we do the same. Child care is a critical foundation for any economy. It allows more people to join the workforce. It gives more families a path to the middle class. And it gives kids the tools and skills that they need to succeed when they enter the classroom for the first time. And so it's really important that we pass the American Families Plan. We're going to keep fighting until we get this bill to President Biden's desk. And now, to talk more about that, I'm delighted to turn things over to Congressman Langevin.
You have it? That's okay. We're gonna get it fixed up. All right. You're welcome.
I lost a little number. That's a problem.
There might, yep, there might be things on here.
I had that legislative.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Here we go. Perfect. I'll help you look for it, Steve. What is it? The little silver?
It's like a little. We'll send you the bill.
Oh, that's what it's taking over.
It's a Cicilline bill. Because
There we
that's
go.
his fault.
All right.
No Langevin, he's driving a Cadillac.
I'm driving the car. It's my fault.
That's okay.
Let's file a claim.
Everyone on?
All right.
I'll help you look, Steve. After.
That's the first, Jim.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody can hear me okay now, and I'm close enough to the mic. I'm not going to get any close to that podium, but I just wanted to thank everyone for being here today. A very important topic. I want to say how proud and privileged I am to be here with my colleague, Congressman Cicilline, on this important topic. I want to say thanks to Shannon for hosting us here at Genesis Center today. And I'll start off by saying that investing in the care economy is absolutely important investment in our shared economic growth, and the Genesis Center is a testament to just that. They do extraordinary work here. I've been here on a number of occasions to get a first-hand look at the training, the job training that they do here, especially in healthcare and childcare and adult education, and the work that's really is spectacular. So the Genesis Center does especially a terrific job preparing Rhode Islanders for all types of careers, but I especially commend Genesis Center for its terrific healthcare training program. So I can tell you from firsthand experience that we desperately need more certified nursing assistants and other home care professionals, and Genesis is doing great work helping to train the caregivers of today and the caregivers of tomorrow. So let's face it and be very clear that if Rhode Island is going to make a full recovery from the pandemic, now is the time to double down on our investments in our care economy. I really applaud the work of Governor McKee. I'm proud to be here with our governor, and as the governor knows, Congress had made a great start early this year in growing our care economy when David and I, alongside our Democratic colleagues, secured nearly $93 million for Rhode Island to keep child care providers open, keep workers on the payroll, and lower costs for hardworking families. But that was just a start. Congress absolutely must pass President Biden's American Families Plan and the American Jobs Plan, both of which will make historic investments in the care economy. So if parents and caregivers can't be sure that their loved ones are safe and cared for, they're going to be much slower at returning to work themselves. We're seeing that already, and clearly our economic recovery will suffer. We don't want that to happen. So we see elements of that happening right now. We have the opportunity to turn that around and get Rhode Island back on the move and back to work much sooner. So that means, though, that we need to invest in things like childcare so that parents can have safe, affordable options for their kids when they return to work. And we clearly see, even before the pandemic, childcare was far too expensive, and Congressman Cicilline did a great job in outlining how expensive it is in terms of the high percentage that families have to pay as a percentage of their overall income, and obviously it's hard to access for the majority of families, and that very much needs to change soon. So the American Families Plan will also create a comprehensive paid family and medical leave program so that no one needs to sacrifice their health or their family to keep their job. Too many people have had to make that choice. Do I go to work sick or do I stay home and miss a paycheck? This will make sure that they don't have to make that tough choice. If they're sick, they can be able to stay home and not miss out on the income that they desperately need, because there'll be an insurance plan there to back it up. So with that, I also believe that more Americans should have the option to receive home care at home or through community-based services. So President Biden's American Jobs Plan will expand access to home and community-based services, improving quality of care and creating good-paying jobs in the caregiving workforce. The American Rescue Plan has helped Rhode Island to stem the tide of the pandemic and get our economy back on track. Now we need to take the next step to pass the American Jobs Plan and the American Families Plan so that we can get Rhode Islanders back to work safely and grow the economy for all Americans. I look forward to returning to Washington soon to continue fighting alongside my colleague, my friend, Congressman Cicilline, to secure these critical investments in our care economy so that our recovery remains strong and secure. And I know that Governor McKee shares that passion and that vision that we're working on, both in the Congress, but working with Governor McKee here in the state. The Governor McKee was kind of thrown into trial by fire. He's really done a spectacular job stepping into the role as our governor, and I appreciate everything he's doing to keep Rhode Islanders safe and get our economy back up and running and at 100% fire at all cylinders. And it's now my pleasure to introduce our governor, Governor Dan McKee.
Thank you, Congressman. Don't knock the podium. Yeah, don't knock the podium over. Yes, I got to be very careful. Yes. So, I think I just want to start by saying thank you to our Congressmen Cicilline and Langevin. I repeat it often, but as always, a new audience. We're not in the position we're in right now in the state of Rhode Island without your leadership, and we really appreciate that, along with our senators. But today I get to thank our congressmen, so thank you so much to both of you. And it's our job to figure out how to manage and maximize the opportunities that are coming our way because of the work that the congressmen are doing in D.C. and making sure that we take full advantage as we reopen our economy, or whether we work with our education. And today we're talking about working with families and helping with families re-enter after the pandemic into our economy. So thank you so much to both Congressman Cicilline and Langevin for hosting this event to highlight Care Economy Week of action. So yesterday did mark my 100 days in office, and now I'm into the next 100 days and the work continues. And our biggest focuses have been getting the economy back on track and getting Rhode Islanders back to work. But that couldn't happen without making sure families have safe, affordable child care that they can rely on so they can focus on their jobs and raising their families. I'm proud to say that Rhode Islanders are getting back to work, but the push to invest in caregiving continues. Right now, only 7% of all Rhode Island families can afford high-quality infant care. In many cases, it's more expensive to provide that child care than sending your child to URI. This is a system issue, and we need to tackle it head on. Earlier this year, we announced the Childcare Stabilization Fund to address the cost of the pandemic and support providers. We are happy to say that our Department of Human Services, leveraging the federal stimulus dollars secured up by our federal delegation, has dispersed $8.9 million in funding to 91% of child care providers, and we will be sending more support to providers in July. But even before the pandemic, there's been a lack of funding for child care organizations, many of which are small, women-owned businesses. That's why my proposed budget includes an increase in the child care assistant program rates. So let's make this the year we invest in our child care. When we invest in child care, we invest in our families, we invest in our jobs, we invest in our economy, and we invest in the state of Rhode Island. So with that, I would just like to say thank you for having me here today and sharing this forum to really push forward on these very important issues. And now I'd like to introduce Shannon Carroll, President, CEO of Genesis Center. Yes.
So, good morning and welcome to Genesis Center. It is a privilege to host our two distinguished congressmen, David Cicilline and Jim Langevin, and our new governor, Dan McKee. So, I want to thank you all for your commitment to Rhode Island and bringing vital resources to what we need here, particularly at a child care center like Genesis Center. Child care is not an economic driver. That's what I was told several years ago when we applied for a grant to train child care teachers focused on wage improvement, and our grant was rejected. Fortunately for the nation, for Rhode Island, for childcare providers like Genesis Center, the climate is changing and people are recognizing that childcare and early learning are indeed critical drivers of our workforce. Without high quality, consistent care and learning, our families cannot attain and retain high quality living wage jobs. The pandemic made this glaringly clear. We are hopeful that several initiatives, both nationally and locally, will provide additional resources to create a more equitable landscape for working families. Specifically, families need access to affordable and consistent care. Early learning centers and family child care providers need resources to effectively run their businesses. And child care workers are long overdue to receive the compensation and recognition that reflects the important contributions to a functioning economy. As a 5-star Bright Star rated early learning center and a Rhode Island pre-K site, we are committed to accessible quality childcare and increasing wages for our hardworking teachers who are mainly women from diverse backgrounds. We also see firsthand the impact accessibility and affordability has on our families. Najina Johnson, our Early Learning Center director, who will be speaking with you in a moment, is not only our director, but she's the parent of 2 children enrolled in our center, and she will share her experiences on the front lines of care. Genesis Center has been serving the community for nearly 40 years now, and the past year has been like no other. In addition to our early learning services, we offer an array of other programs, including several workforce trainings that supply workers to the care economy. At a time when CNAs, medical assistants, pharmacy technicians are in high demand, our students, who are trained in all of those things, have been called upon to use their training during this crisis. And although our methods were forced to change very quickly to hybrid and remote learning, our program quality remained the same. The pandemic has had a huge impact on our community here in South Providence. Many of our families and students faced with unemployment and underemployment have been struggling. We have seen huge increases in food insecurity and housing instability, as well as challenges acquiring technology for remote learning, either for themselves or for their children. We knew we had to reopen our early learning center quickly last year. We understood that many of our families, and yes, many of them were working in the care economy, needed to go back to work. When we reopened the center in July, we prioritized the health and safety of our teachers and our students. It wasn't easy, but we did it because we knew that parents and caregivers could not go back to work, grow our economy, and build better lives for their families without the confidence that their children and loved ones were safe and cared for. We are optimistic that as we emerge from this pandemic, early learning and those who devote to caring for others will not be forgotten. And I'd like to share a little bit more, or Najina will share a little bit more. So I'd like to introduce Najina Johnson, the director of our Early Learning Center
Before we lose you, Miss
and a parent.
Carl, how many people do you serve here
At the Genesis Center is about 1,000 every year. Our Early Learning Center is about 100 children throughout a year.
And how many people do you employ?
About 55 right now, part-time and full-time. Okay. All right. So Najina.
Can you spell your name?
Ngina and Johnson. My last name.
Thanks.
All set? Okay. Sure. Ngina. Yep. Okay. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us here at the Genesis Center. As a parent, an educator, and now an administrator, I feel truly blessed and fortunate that I get to come here with confidence each and every morning to drop off my children to their loving classrooms. As an administrator, I'm able to witness teachers excitedly collaborate in their planning and their teaching that they do so beautifully with such wonderful intentions. They truly love coming to work every day. They're true educators. We're not just a center who provides care. We go beyond loving children and we foster their growth, their independence, with purposeful materials and curriculum. Children are learning practical, social, emotional, and life skills that they will always possess, and it all begins right here. The pandemic brought to light the direct connection of the workforce, the direct connection of the workforce and education and childcare. In the past, the concept existed for society, but here's our chance to show that it is a priority. I'm so grateful for the efforts that the new Biden administration is putting into action through the American Rescue Plan, and to be here today celebrating the Care Economy Week of Action with Congressmen David Cicilline, Jim Langevin, and Governor Dan McKee. With this new proposed funding, we'll be able to maintain our positive, healthy work environments as we compensate our faculty appropriately for their tremendous efforts as educators and as caregivers. We'll be able to have contemporary materials that will support our brilliant students' interests. Our facilities will be well maintained, and we'll have the equipment throughout the center that's engaging. We'll be able to continue to fund partnerships with organizations like the Providence Children's Museum. We have summer enrichment plans for our students that wouldn't be possible if the attention around quality care wasn't changing. So many parents are being forced to make hard family decisions right now, and childcare and education shouldn't be one of them. They deserve the comfort that I have every day that I have of bringing my children to school every day, here or to a place like Genesis Center. They should know that their children are loved and they're getting quality education. I hope that with the new legislation on the federal and the local level, it'll be easier for those who are in need to receive the care that they deserve and no longer need to meet a poverty line to receive it. Education at any level should be accessible and always affordable. I've always felt this way, and I will continue to do what I can to provide that to families seeking the very best learning environment for their children. I'm proud to have been an early childhood educator for most of my career, and I'm proud and honored to now be an administrator advocating for the families who are so deserving and of amazing early learning childcare for their loved ones. Thank you for this opportunity to be a servant in this journey of making sure families have access to a bright future. There's no place like Genesis Center, and I'm happy to be an additional support working with already existing programs that provide services for families in need. Thank you.
Johnson, you say you have children here in the center?
I do. I'm a foster parent, and services from the state, from Genesis Center, has allowed for me to bring my children to school. Yeah.
How many and how old?
I have two. I have a 4-year-old son, and I also have a 2-year-old daughter.
Both here?
And they're both here. Yeah.
How do you like it?
It's fantastic. I'm living my best life. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you've been here how long?
I started here as a teacher in the pre-K classroom, and now I'm the director. I've been here for about 1.5 years. Yeah. Thank you.
Governor McKee and Congressman Langevin will now take any of the difficult questions.
Congressman, did you say that the CARES Act contains $39 billion for early childhood education?
I want to make sure that's the right.
That
Yes.
number-
Yes. The down payment that was in the American Rescue Plan. Yep. Thank you all.
Thank you.